Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another session of daily recaps. And today's date is March 5th. It is a Thursday. I took one trade, not even really worth it to really talk about, but I took this 15-minute OB creation off of this 15-minute C3, trading the 15-minute C4. I took it, but I realized that I don't really want to be in it anymore. So I just took it off at break even. Well, minus $20, but still, nonetheless, I did want to go and take it down to this low and just for 2R as we would want it to extend. And yeah, that's just basically what I was aiming for. However, it's just like I don't want to participate in it because of the fact that one we are within the stronger asset. YM is flushing, failing to manipulate this low, which means lower prices, meaning that NQ can catch up. ES is obviously going to be the even weaker asset compared to NQ. NQ is kind of just consolidating right here. So with NQ consolidating right here, I was like, you know what, I'll just take it off at 50, or it was, how much was it, 50, 40, 30, what the fuck, all over the place. So $50 loss. Literally like a tenth or maybe an eighth of an R loss. I just don't want to sit through it, for one, and for two, it's like I don't want to. I gotta go to work soon, so I'm not trying to fucking have this. I feel very uncomfortable when I gotta go to work and my trade is running. It kind of makes me want to check my phone, and then I can't focus on what I need to do, and then it's like, you know what I mean. I'm a lot better when I am at home, and I'd much rather not be in a trade when I have to go to work in a little, especially in this shit, right? It just becomes seek and destroy. Not really seek and destroy, but just a lower probability trade that I don't really want to participate in, because this phases right here, the phases in price right now, definitely does not support us being bearish. So with that being said, we could chop around right here for fucking the next 5 hours for all I know, you know what I mean? Just because we are not trading the weakest. The middle ES is dumping, but NQ is kind of holding up very nicely on the bullish end, so not very the best thing to trade at current standpoint. But basically, that's what it is. Not gonna be participating in it, right? So with that being said as well, I did not have a bearish bias coming into the day. I did have a bullish bias, and let's just drop into it from the top down of why. So the reasoning why I had a bullish bias was, yeah, we do have that daily C2. I looked at yesterday as a daily C3, and I also looked at it as a push through this high, right? So we impacted this level here, impact the relevant high with that daily C3 closing through, daily CISD pushing me upwards, and I wanted to see the next draw on liquidity to be these highs, as your weekly candle does have the wick expansion and wanting to see up higher with that fucking bullish C2 that is located like that, or C3, and it also has the OB creation. So I wanted to see higher. If we wanted to see higher, how would have wanted to do this is by phases and price and daily profile. As you can tell from this range low, we do have that V-shaped reversal, and from this V-shaped reversal, what can we take notice? We impact a relevant high. What can we anticipate when we do impact a relevant high is a different phase in price. What phase in price do we get? A retracement. How can we tell it's a retracement? The leaving behind of all of this low resistance liquidity, and it does end up being a AMD, right? So with it being an AMD, it does have that accumulation, manipulation, and looking like we wanted to trade up higher, as we are within internal range right now. And we do have that accumulation, and then we have the manipulation here. And I was looking to frame 10 a.m. higher to go and trade up to these highs here, as we had that 6 a.m. C2, looking for 10 a.m. to be C3 up to the upside. So with that being said, I do take notice that of here, when we do enter into the 10 a.m. time period, I'm looking to trade NQ up higher as well. Why as well is because YM was looking like it wanted to go and tap into this low. So YM, once we did tap into this low, that leaves NQ with this push and like that. And then we wanted to see NQ with the SMT that's pointing in that direction to be that lot stronger asset. And we were operating within this 15-minute candles and the 15-minute gap and shit like that, going into the 10 a.m. candle. So what I was looking for was a 15-minute C2 formation to get formed up right here. And if I could have gotten that C2 formation to be formed up right there, that's where I was looking to take a long, right? I was looking to take a long within this candle to see a C2 and then trade C3 up to range highs, and then ultimately to my next draw on liquidity, which is range low going up to range high. You get the impact with the relevant accumulation, manipulation, looking for the distribution back up to the upside. That's what I was looking for coming into the day. And it also looked very nice for me anyway, for me to be long. It looked very clean that 930 did reverse price off of this low. And that shows very clear order flow, very clear stature that we could have been going up higher, right? So with this 930 reversal, 930 reverses price expands away from this low. This is when I can assume that this low is considered valid and we should be able to go up to the upside. I did, and what I was looking for was a C2 formation. If we had that C2 formation like this, right, I was looking for the C2 to close like that, and then on the lower time frame it does some shit like this, boom, 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 and then you can take your C3 up to the upside and trade the C3 to the upside. That's what I was looking for, as this would be your CISD right there, right? Did it happen? No, it didn't. So that's unfortunate, right? And then price just ran straight downwards. So that invalidated my bias. And then I was like, okay, so if YM is going to fail to manipulate, then that means this SMT is going to be considered false. So what would I wait for here is, basically I would look for this 15-minute gap to hold price down to the downside now. So how do we confirm gaps are getting held down to the downside? Is by swing formations. So what do we wait for is, okay, there's no C2 here. YM is way too fucking low in the range. I can't trade that low in the range. So we do have that C2 formation, or no C2s forming here, no SMTs either. So what do I wait for? The C3 closure. The C3 closure does close as a 15-minute OB. And with that 15-minute OB, I take a position like this. And then my stops can go to that C3's high. And then I'm looking to take this down to catch up with where YM is to go down to here. As that's going to be my draw, and then YM is going for this next one over, as this is going to be considered the low that I would like to break the SMT with on NQ. Does that happen? I don't know if it's going to happen, if I got to be completely honest with you. I just do not want to participate in all of this chop, as now it becomes a chop fest, right? This is just an accumulation, and I don't really want to participate in the accumulation. Why? Because this higher time frame is an accumulation. And the phases in price does not support for NQ to go lower now. So I'm going to stay out of it completely. Just take my $50 loss and just basically a break even there, right? I took it off as well, not only because of that, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's because I got to go to work soon, and I don't like to leave my trades, especially when it's consolidating this badly. I wanted to, I tried it so I can do this. This is what I tried it for, was for this 15 minutes to close, and then for us to rip downwards, tap into the lowest point of the day, and then for me to fucking just clear order flow of that 15-minute C3, 15-minute C4, for it to just flush all the way through for that 11 a.m. candle flush. And I just wanted to go straight to this low so that way we can go break even. Unfortunately, it fucking didn't go there, and then we started to chop around here for like the last 30 minutes, and I just told myself, and I was like, you know what, bro, I'm fucking over it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm over it. I don't really feel like participating in this for 30 minutes. And then it's just literally moving sideways. So I just took it off at $50. I was like, you know what? Call it a day. Probably didn't have to take that trade, but it looked nice in the moment, right? We had that C3 outside of a 15-minute gap, confirmed the gap when the swing formation with a V shape, heavy displacement to the downside. That 15-minute closure looking like that looked very nice for a... It looks super nice for, this is like literally how much R loss, right? It's like literally like that. So so it's like, fuck, you know what I mean? I was like, you know what, I'm over it. I don't really want to entertain this anymore. With that being said, it looked nice with the 15-minute C3. If I was to rewind just to the 15-minute C3's closure, right, before all of that chop did happen, 30 minutes worth of chop, This is what it looked like on the 15-minute candle, where we could see strength switching into NQ and respecting that 15-minute gap. And with the respect of that gap, what do we see here? A nice displacement candle through these lows, showing you that we can go lower with that CISD confirming it as well. I don't like these highs at first, but once we expand away from the high, then obviously we're not going there anymore, right? So with that being said, I enter like that, and then price does what it does for the rest of the day. So from there, I wanted to just go break even as soon as we cross this low. Obviously, it kind of failed to do that, and then it just stopped and then started to go back up or higher and just move sideways. I don't really want to participate in it anymore. You know what I mean? It's just lower probability conditions now. With that being said, how could I have done better? I could have walked away, but it looked very convincing to me off of that 15-minute closure. I would say I did very well recognizing the market conditions after the fact and taking it off at break even instead of having to sit here and fucking twiddle my thumbs and be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it for me to put risk on in a lower probability condition, recognizing that we are just moving sideways now and not going to where I wanted to go. If we was going to flush, we was going to flush it right then and there. We're not going to fucking accumulate for the next hour. You know what I mean? So that's kind of just where it is. And then this low could be considered protected because it's been swept. But nonetheless, if we was truly bearish, this should have CISD and should have 15-minute model straight through, break even, and then you just hold that bitch at break even, and then you see if price does want to go and hold price down to the downside, then we can flush, kind of like how these lows would be, right? You would go boom, and then you would see price just come up and flush, right? But instead it's making deep retracements and consolidation, CISD consolidation. Like, doesn't make sense there. But yeah, it's basically fucking that. I'm done for the day. I'm going to take my $50 loss and call it a day right there, right? We don't need to participate anymore, so to say, right? With that being said, I think that's it. Yeah. I'm gonna chill out. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to chill out and have a great rest of my day and call it a day there and not have to worry about a trade being in. And if you guys like this type of content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next session. Peace.